In 1977, recently retired Region 6 Director of the U.S. Forest Service, Ted Schlapfer, determined that to be effective, natural resource managers needed to expand their proficiencies beyond traditional technical skills to understanding the nuanced human needs of those involved in an issue, no longer seeing environmental groups, citizens, and other stakeholders as adversaries, but as essential partners in their work. It was with this in mind that he forged what today is the PSU Executive Seminar Program.
Well, my current role is I'm the state forester, so I'm the director of the Oregon Department of Forestry, and we do everything from fight fire to manage state forests to regulate the private sector. The programs here with ESP are very much focused on the ground. They're focused on practical projects, real people who have who are struggling with the same types of challenges that we're all struggling with.
When we started, we spent a lot of time just talking about basic political economy. That kind of theme has changed. More recently, there's been attention on collaborative governance, how it is we work horizontally as well as vertically, working with nonprofits and with private sector organizations, as well as governmental organizations at all levels and with tribes.
The class participants are usually either existing managers or they're moving into that management track. And it really varies. Some are very experienced managers and some are much junior in their career, which I think really adds a lot of richness to the class makeup.
The Executive Seminar Program Advisory Board is made up of the execs of the region. So this means regional foresters, regional directors of federal agencies. These execs are like having a dozen people who are the execs of Fortune 500 companies in our building.
The opportunity to really learn how people play a role in natural resources is rare in the degrees that we get. This program provides a great opportunity to step back from the science and really look at the social side and the need to work with people to solve natural resource issues.
Ensuring real-world relevancy, each program is constructed around 3 case studies of natural resource conflicts in the greater region. Participants travel to each of these places to meet with the actual stakeholders and change makers to find out what worked, what mattered, and how positive solutions were created.
The number of jurisdictions that were engaged in this wicked challenge was mind-blowing. There were over 350 different jurisdictions, and so the opportunity to take a look at this case externally and look at how you work through issues without one specific leader in charge was pretty amazing.
This puts us in a forum to better understand these real-life emerging issues together collectively and how we can collaborate on how to address them.
The case method for me was really helpful, I think, in highlighting the similarities of seemingly disparate cases, and searching for unifying themes through the material is another thread that for me has been really helpful in my work.
So in the Klamath Basin, they were essentially fighting over water rights. I was very interested in the techniques and the facilitated discussions that sort of completely changed the dialogue in that community, where these people who were once fierce enemies would now sit down over a cup of coffee and have a conversation. What the Executive Seminar Program did was help us understand that process, how that happened, what made that change happen, what were the pieces that had to come together to make that happen.
Pushing participants beyond technical understanding of an issue, the Executive Seminar Program instills in members a focus on relentless engagement, locating and interacting with the vast and expansive array of stakeholders a given issue may have.
One of the things that the ESP program has brought to all of us in the Department of Forestry who participate is that sense that that there isn't an easy fix, and that really the solutions are going to come through significant engagement with many stakeholders.
Really, it is all about people and relationships, and coming back to that as a touchstone of the program for me has been invaluable.
We had a chance to interact with Elwha tribal leaders who described the importance of getting fish back into the Elwha River, not only to their economy, to their culture, but even spiritually. And I think that was really a moving experience for all of us.
You got to make some tough decisions, but you need to, you need to make sure that you've got everybody with you, or you know what all the different points of interest are and what the possibilities are.
We're working with private landowners, we're working with federal and state land managers, and if we don't understand their perspective and where they're coming from, we're not going to be able to address the natural resource issues that are most important. So when we engage, you have to engage very closely and very directly with those people to understand where they're coming from, to understand the historical perspective, and to really get a grasp of how we can address resource issues in a way that is beneficial for all of us.
To move beyond surface-level learning, the Executive Seminar Program is designed to provide week-long periods of full immersion into the individual cases, as well as a final capstone reflection. This allows students to bring their whole minds to bear on understanding the nuances involved in creating real-world effective solutions.
It's an up periscope moment for you to get out of your own box, look at other challenges, and see how other people are facing those challenges. We learn best when we're in a positive environment with people who are engaged and engaging. It's kind of hard to let go of what you're working on, but when you're in that other environment, working at other problems, it's actually refreshing.
The gift of space and time for some reflection, and the way the cases are built and the time frame over the 9 months allows participants to really pause, reflect, and go much deeper into issues than they might, but more importantly, I think, go much deeper into personal relationships they develop, and they build capacity in those kind of quiet moments.
I think the capstone session is maybe one of the most important aspects of the program. We ask them to kind of look more broadly at all the cases together and help synthesize, the public policy leadership lessons that through all the cases. And then we report out to our advisory board members on what we learned, and the advisory board members have a chance to interact with the class.
The only way that you will learn it is if you actually immerse yourself in the issue for a week. You have to sort of leave all that behind and open up your mind to be able to see the real-life application of the lessons learned, to be able to take those back and translate them into your work.
As we move into the 21st century, issues around natural resources will continue to grow in size, complexity, and wickedness. Today's natural resource managers increasingly face wickedly complex problems that can only be addressed by working with all of those who have a stake in the solution. In order to rise and meet these challenges, they will need the higher level of skills and perspectives that the world-class faculty at the Executive Seminar Program continues to teach year after year.
We had just finished a plan, and it didn't have what I would call social acceptance, and so it was revoked. We were starting over, and it was a really key point where I could apply these lessons that I had learned. In December, we had listening sessions, and for the first time, we hear people who have been diametrically opposed to these issues say, this was the first time where we actually sat down together and listened to each other.
I gained some tremendous analytical frameworks and perspectives on broad-scale issues that an agency like the Port faces all the time.
And it's actually something kind of magical that happens every year, that these groups form a cohort, and many of them establish relationships that personal and professional that they maintain for many years to come.
An openness, a willingness, a set of tools around how to do that. Those are some demonstrable, tangible things that our folks have taken out of the ESP that have shaped the way we do our state forest planning process.
The experience both in the ESP program on natural resource issues and then the resulting MPA program really positioned me well for the director position that I'm in now.
Administrative work, by its nature, is political. And politics is about arbitrating value differences. And we can either do that well, or we can do that poorly. And the Executive Seminar Program is a program that's committed to helping us to do that kind of work better. And as a result of how we do what we do, we then have the potential to create a legacy of increased trust and legitimacy within the political communities in which we act.
For natural resource managers looking toward developing the higher level of skills and perspectives needed to overcome the challenges of tomorrow, your next step forward can be found at Portland State University's Executive Seminar Program.